My name is Emily, and for the longest time, I thought I was losing my mind. I don't say that lightly. It started subtly, like a whisper in the back of my head. A misplaced item here, a forgotten appointment there. At first, I brushed it off as stress. I was working full-time as a nurse, pulling long night shifts, while also trying to keep our house together. My husband Daniel was a lawyer, charming, intelligent, and busy. We didn't see each other much, but when we did, I tried to make it count. And then there was Ava, my younger sister. Ava had always been the beautiful one, the wild one. Growing up, she was the type to sneak out at night, to charms boys with her laughter, to get away with everything because of her looks and her cunning. I, on the other hand, was the responsible one, the older sister, the fixer. When Ava lost her job and needed a place to stay, I didn't hesitate. I offered her our guest room. Daniel wasn't thrilled. He said it would disrupt our lives, that Ava was unpredictable. But I defended her. She's family, I said. She just needs a little time. It was the worst decision I've ever made. The first few weeks were fine. Ava cooked occasionally, helped around the house, even bonded with Daniel in ways that made me uneasy. But I told myself I was being ridiculous, paranoid. After all, she was my sister. But things started to shift. I began misplacing things. My keys, my phone, even important paperwork from work. I'd find them in strange places, like the fridge or the laundry basket. One day I found my phone in Ava's room. She said I must have left it there. Then Daniel started acting differently. Colder, more distant. He was always on his phone, always busy. He started working late. Sometimes he wouldn't come home at all, saying he'd crashed at a colleague's place after a long case prep. I tried talking to him, but he told me I was being emotional, that I was imagining things, that I needed to rest more. I felt ashamed for doubting him. Then there were the dreams. At night, I'd hear whispering outside our bedroom door. Sometimes I'd wake up, and the sheets next to me would be cold. Daniel said I was dreaming, that I must be sleepwalking or hallucinating from exhaustion. But I knew what I felt. I started keeping a journal, writing down everything. Every time he came home late, every time Ava left the house at the same time as he did, every strange glance between them. I thought I was keeping track to prove I wasn't crazy. Until the journal disappeared, I tore the house apart. I accused Ava, who cried and told me I needed help. Daniel sat me down and said he was worried about me, that I was becoming unstable. He suggested therapy, maybe even medication. That night, I cried myself to sleep, not because I thought he was right, but because I didn't know what was real anymore. And then came the voicemail. I was cleaning out the laundry room when I found an old phone I hadn't used in months. My backup, the one I kept in case my current one broke. I turned it on just out of curiosity. There was a single voicemail. It was from Daniel. He didn't realize he was leaving a message. I heard laughter, clinking glasses, then his voice. She actually believes I'm working late again. Can you believe that? She's so easy to fool. Then came Ava's voice. I'd recognize it anywhere. She's so pathetic. You'd think a nurse would be smarter. And then, kissing. I dropped the phone. My hands were shaking. I couldn't breathe. I wasn't crazy. I had been right all along. They were having an affair. My husband and my sister, in my home, while I was sleeping in the next room. But the betrayal didn't end there. That same night, I confronted them. I didn't play the voicemail. I wanted to see how far they'd go to lie. I told them I knew, that I could feel it, that I saw them. Daniel didn't even flinch. He looked at me like I was a child throwing a tantrum. Emily, this is getting out of hand. You need help. Maybe inpatient care. Ava chimed in. This obsession with us, it's not healthy. Maybe you're having a breakdown. They were trying to institutionalize me. I saw it in their eyes. They were gaslighting me to the point of no return. And worst of all, I didn't have proof. The voicemail was gone. The phone? Dead. When I tried to replay it, it had been deleted. I was losing my grip, not on reality, but on my ability to prove it. So I played along. I acted calm, apologetic. I told them I was sorry, that I was just tired, and that I wanted to get better. I started planning my revenge. But first, I needed allies. That's when I remembered something from the voicemail. Clinking glasses, a bar, somewhere public, somewhere they thought I wouldn't find them. I dug through bank statements, tracked locations, started building a map of where Daniel spent his money, who Ava had been texting, and when. The deeper I dug, the darker the truth became. They hadn't just slept together. They'd been plotting something bigger, and I was the target. After weeks of pretending, smiling, and swallowing my rage, I finally had a plan, but it wasn't enough to catch them. I needed to destroy them, not physically, no. I wanted to make them feel what they made me feel. Alone, helpless, exposed, shattered. So I began with Daniel. You see, lawyers can be arrogant, especially ones like him. Ones who think they're untouchable. But arrogance makes people sloppy. It makes them underestimate the people they betray. And he underestimated me. I started small. I told him I wanted to reconnect, rebuild. I cooked dinners again, left sweet notes, even suggested a romantic getaway. His ego ate it up. He thought he had broken me. Perfect. While he smiled, thinking he'd won, I was copying files from his laptop. Work documents, emails, contracts, bank accounts. Wasn't looking for the affair. I was looking for leverage. And I found it. Daniel had been hiding more than just his affair with Ava. He was laundering money for a private client, a client under federal investigation. It was buried beneath layers of dummy corporations and encrypted folders, but I worked night shifts in trauma. I've seen worse puzzles. I made copies, all of them. Next, I turned to Ava. She was trickier. She was more paranoid. She always had been. But she liked attention, so I gave it to her. I started asking her to hang out like old times, watch shows, paint nails, just like when we were teens. I'm so glad you're better, she said one night, leaning against my shoulder. I wanted to scream, but I smiled. Me too. While she slept, I unlocked her phone using facial recognition. She had a folder hidden deep inside, private photos and videos of her and Daniel. Proof. I transferred them to a burner drive, and then I waited. The next phase required a little help. I reached out to Tasha, my old college roommate. She was now a journalist, working for a mid-sized investigative magazine. I told her I had a story, one that involved legal corruption, betrayal, and a secret affair. She bit instantly. Over the course of a week, I gave her everything. Daniel's dirty files, Ava's private messages, even a secret audio recording made where Daniel and Ava joked about gaslighting me. Tasha said it was one of the most disturbing things she'd ever heard, but we weren't ready to publish yet, not until everything was in place. Then came the final act. I planned a dinner, big one, just the three of us. I told them I wanted to celebrate my mental health breakthrough. I cooked their favorite meal, lit candles, poured wine, smiled like a Stepford wife. They were so pleased with themselves. Halfway through dinner, I stood up, held my glass, and I just want to say thank you, both of you, for showing me who you really are. They froze. Ava laughed nervously. What do you mean? I reached behind me and pulled out a small remote. Click. A projector lit up the living room wall, and there it was. A slideshow of screenshots, messages, photos, videos. Daniel dropped his fork. Ava's face turned white. You recorded us? She shrieked. Oh, I said. That's just the beginning. I walked to the front door and opened it. 2 federal agents stepped inside. Daniel, one said, we have a warrant for your arrest in connection with financial crimes and obstruction of justice. He stuttered. Well, wait, this is insane. I cut him off. Don't worry, I saved all the files. You'll have plenty of time to look through them. In prison, they cuffed him and dragged him out while Ava stood there trembling. And then I turned to her. You're not going to jail, I said. That would be too easy. Her lip quivered. Then what? What are you going to do to me? I smiled. You're going to be nobody. I had already sent her videos and messages to every employer she'd applied to, every guy she flirted with on dating apps. Her reputation was ashes. She wouldn't get hired to clean toilets after this. She tried to scream at me, but I was already walking away. You destroyed my life, I said, not looking back. I'm just returning the favor. 6 months later, I was living in a new city. New apartment, new job, new peace. Daniel was awaiting trial. The case had made local headlines, thanks to Tasha's. Behind the courtroom door, the lawyer, the affair, and the sister he gaslit. Ava tried to sue for defamation, but with all the evidence, her case got laughed out of court. People asked me if I regretted anything, if I missed them. The truth, I don't regret it for a second, because I took back my power. I reminded them that I wasn't fragile, that I wasn't weak. They thought they could break me, but I rebuilt myself from the ruins they left behind, stronger, smarter, and unstoppable.